Another episode of the Clock Enders podcast on a glorious Wednesday evening. We have a full house here tonight. We have all four members of the podcast. We have Life of the Party, Gunnar Tech. Everybody hates Nick.
They do.
We are going to be discussing and recapping our reactions for the Everton versus Arsenal game, which is what we were expecting the first time these two teams played and didn't get. Very disappointing to watch that, but this game more than made up for that. 100%. I wasn't
Wait. Are you talking about the score line? Because you can't be talking about the score line. That was only Edson. And Edson was at, 6-0? What do you say again? I forget.
Yeah.
Like that, right?
This was the 4-0 that I was calling for, but we dropped four goals from as well, so you know.
Eventually, he got the score right, so I'll give him that. There was a 4-0 to Everton, so I'll give him that for this season. But I wasn't able to watch the game, so I'm going to be, learning as you guys are learning what the reactions are towards the game. But guys, we'll start like what we always do with the lineup. Arteta's 11. Did we see anything that should have been changed? I know we have guys that are starting that we've been calling to have starting even from last game and games before that. But did we see anything that should have changed or didn't change, or we were disappointed with anything that we saw today as far as the lineup goes?
No.
We'll start with Edson.
No. Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Yep.
Perfect line.
Well, nothing you saw in the lineup was
when the lineup came out. I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, it was exactly what I expected, which was for the 11 from last game to be put right back out there again and have another chance to shine. And they when they really turned it on there before the start of the second half, we saw the quality come out. And it was a beautiful thing.
I mean, I do feel sorry for some guys. I really want Tierney to get a chance. But, I guess it's competition, man. It's good competition. It's competition in the lineup. So you can't really complain. You got to earn your spot. It's not going to give you
I don't think you can feel sorry for anybody in the form that we are right now. If we were losing and guys weren't playing, that's different. And he was going with the same 11 and we were losing and guys weren't playing. Yeah, feel bad that he's not playing and get a shot. But how can you tinker with what's more than working right now? So, and I know every guys want to see Tierney play and stuff like that, but who comes out then?
Exactly, Reg. You go with your strongest lineup, and as the game goes, if there's opportunities to bring those other guys in, whether the game's lost or not, or out of reach for the other team, I think that's where the guys get their minutes. And we got a lot of competitions to play, right? We got Europa League coming up. Some of those guys will get their opportunities. I think we have full focus on the Premier League right now, so Arteta's going to play his strongest lineups in the last few games. It's been this current lineup, apart from maybe Jorginho, who got hauled off at half today. So I don't know. I love it. It was it's
going to take a catastrophe to happen, a ton of injuries to happen for guys to get some spots. And I don't want to wish that upon anything. So right now I'm go with it. Go with what you have. Again, you said it right, Tech. It's why are you going to tinker with something that's working? You just don't, It is what it is. And yes, I mean, it is Everton, right? So, I mean, I don't want to,
Everton beat us the last time we played them, so we
can't just good as where we don't have a good record.
I don't care. It could be on Mars. We shouldn't lose to them, but it doesn't matter. But you mentioned something, Tech, about Jorginho getting pulled at the 45th minute at half. I know we were talking about it a little bit before we even started the podcast, but what do we attribute that to? Is it just something that he wants to tinker with as far as Arteta? Wants to tinker with who can play where and with who and in what situation? Or do we think it's something else?
I imagine that the original plan was to have Partey step up his involvement from the 10 minutes from last week to now, coming on at the half, 45 minutes. What we were saying before was that Jorginho hasn't been playing at Chelsea. It's different than Trossard, who, all right, before he came over, there were 3 games where he didn't play. But outside of that, he was a workhorse for them. right? And he was up to game speed. Jorginho was probably like, in terms of when they say, oh, this person's performing at levels that are kind of like in the red, he was probably performing at an in the red kind of level, having done that many, started that many games in a row after having not played. And obviously he's a professional. He stayed in shape and he was giving us so much energy. But I think that this game, maybe the first half, it showed a little bit, whether it was the fact that he knew that the hook was coming at halftime and he wanted to like maybe do a little bit too much, trying to do a little bit too much before he was hooked at halftime, or the fact that, I don't know, maybe he was losing a little bit of energy. Maybe it wasn't, as I'm not exactly sure. I can't put my finger on it, but I will say that, things worked much better. And we know that they do once Thomas Partey is in there. And that's no knock to Jorginho. I still believe that I'm excited to still see the combination of Jorginho and Partey as well. And now we know that we can definitely trust Jorginho and Xhaka. So, he came in and he did exactly what we paid 12 million smackaroos to do. And that was hold it together and dictate the play and keep us ticking. And he did much more than that. You know what I mean? Much more. He was dynamic, and him coming off at the half, I think, is just preserving him for this run as well.
Yeah,
for sure.
It was a nervy first half, right? Until the 2 goals came in. I think the first 35 minutes. Defensively, Everton were good, right? I thought it was going to be another a similar performance to the last game against them, but it took a moment of brilliance from Zinchenko and Saka to put the game on its head and change the outcome, right? So Jorginho, he had a couple bad passes. He wasn't his best self today, but he did what he had to do to keep us in the game and keep us attacking. So I think, just honest, I think Partey is obviously the better player, and our team ticks so much better with Partey in the squad. But Jorginho's a good deputy. He's a good deputy there. An okay performance, not his best performance in our shirt, but we got the win, so I'm happy about it.
We can say that player ratings tech.
Yeah. I don't know.
We'll get to the ratings really quickly. But just one more question I wanted to ask, and I know we saw maybe the most substitutions we've seen in a while in an Arsenal game. I think we saw all 5 being used this game. An eye towards what's coming, because there's a storm of games coming with not a lot of rests in between games. Are we seeing Arteta tinker because guys need rest? Well, maybe not tinker, but use the substitutions, all 5 substitutions today, because guys need rest. Because the games before the international break, I think we spoke about, I think there's 5 games before the international break. The international break's on the 19th. So you guys can do the math on how many games are in that 20-day span. So, or 8-day span now. So we saw Arteta make all 5 changes. That has to be something, with an eye on the upcoming games for sure, right?
Yeah, compared to previous games where it's one change. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that was maybe 2 or 3 games back. So he's definitely taking a different attitude, but it's also, probably a lot of what's going on in training and guys getting healthy and, the competition and the spirit of the team also. I think he mentioned that, this is exactly the performance that we needed. And also it's, playing against Everton and having a 2-goal cushion at halftime and feeling the freedom to be able to do it. Whereas, previously it's been tight and he probably hasn't been so eager to do it, So we have a quality squad now. Time to rotate. And I think that's what we've kind of all been hoping for. And Arteta also, he knows, again, when someone's going into the red, and when somebody does need to be rested, through sports science, etc., the way that they track them. So, we got to put our trust in what's happening there as well. We got to trust the process a little bit as well. And I think that now what we've been asking for now is when we're going to get it.
I think that I think you're right about the rest, but I also think that I think Arteta is really just trying to get guys in there so that they're sharp and that they're sort of ready to go for this next stretch of games. Obviously, Europa League is coming up. It's going to be a bunch of games we played. I think this was the game in hand, right? If you did the math, it would be the game in hand that happened.
Yeah, the game we just played. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, again, it's just Arteta just being smart and just making sure that guys are sharp and they have opportunities to come in there. I think you're going to. I thought we would see maybe Tierney today. Obviously, it didn't happen, but I think that those guys are going to need some time. I know that Smith Rowe, he played in the under 21s, I think on Monday, and so did someone else did too.
Kiwior.
Yeah, here they played on Monday. So I think it's good rotation. It's giving guys the rest that we've been talking about for a while, where we just saw guys a little sluggish out there. So bravo to Arteta.
Yeah. I think like 4 of the 5 subs came in after the third goal, I think. I'm pretty sure, right? So, I think the game is it's game management at that point. It's, less risk to bring on some of the guys that haven't been getting minutes over the last little while. And Tierney did come in, I think, in like a little bit later than I think some of the earlier changes.
Yeah, he was like after the 80th minute there is when he came in. But I really liked what he did. I think that he had a bit of an impact. He pinged the ball across the field, and as Tech was saying, and I was thinking the same thing. It's like, wow, it's just, and I think the announcer mentioned it as well. It's just funny to kind of see Tierney sitting in that Zinchenko role.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a blast, but he kind of played it really well, and I think that it's a feel good win because we got to see everybody out there, all subs used, the return of Smith Rowe, another feel good moment there. Eddie Nketiah in on that Martinelli goal with that cross, producing off the bench. You know what I mean? It's kind of an all around feel good 3 points.
Well, hopefully, I think Arteta might be even coaching Tierney to play that role because he's not that type of player. He has to change. At 25 years old, he's got to change the way he plays in order to play that type of role. Maybe he can get him into more games if he's able to play that way, right?
Well, we always used to say, like, when we were short in defensive midfield, like, why wouldn't we try Tierney there? He seems to have all the ability to play in that slot. And I mean, if that's what he's doing, I mean, he plays center back for his national team. You know what I mean? Because Robertson plays there on the left wing. So, like, why wouldn't he be able to play there? And why wouldn't he be able to play that position? Take some adapting, yes. He's probably maybe like, a good 6 months into really adapting to trying to play that way because before this, the system just catered to Tierney how he was. And if he can get used to playing like this, then, then having someone like a Vieira on his side, playing in front of him in midfield would be super interesting at that point too. Like the combinations that they could put together, like.
I don't want to misquote Arteta, but he did. I think he was asked about Tierney yesterday, and his response was like barely cryptic. He was literally saying, "Look, the guys I'm giving time to have earned their spots." So I mean, I think that maybe he's trying to earn it in practice right now, right? So it is what it is.
Yeah, it's not just
maybe it's just something as simple as that, right?
He's not just playing guys just because he likes them, I guess, or you know what I mean. It's just more of like these guys are in the games in the tough games and they're producing. So they have. I mean, again, we come back to if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So
yeah, and I think these right now, what we're using right now, these are the parts that that when inserted in the engine, allow us the most horsepower, and on both sides, going both ways. And it looks real good. It looked real good today.
If Tierney ends up starting in the Europa League matches coming up,
he will.
Which let's say he does. I don't think he's going to play that Zinchenko role. To be honest, I think we're going to have a couple other changes in the mid. will just change the shape and the way we play.
Well, maybe that's what he was trying today.
That's what he was trying. He was trying it himself, right? I don't know if Arteta was telling him to do that, but he was making, a concerted effort to stay in the middle of the pitch. And, he I don't know, it was 10 minutes. Like, you can't really get a lot out of that. But I don't know. It looks foreign to him, to be honest.
I mean,
today was.
The thing about Tierney, though, is that Tierney has pace. You know what I mean? Tierney has pace. So that will paper over the cracks around the way that he plays the position. Yeah. So I actually feel like you will probably see him try and play it the same way. And his athleticism will just kind of make up for whatever he lacks in, like, just naturally being able to play it, knowing how, or the position being made for him,
Yeah. Usually when he's playing, he's doing those overlapping runs with the mid, right? And he's putting those balls in. So I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Crazy how this game works, though. I swear we were all talking about this guy being captain just last year, literally last season, and look at how things have just changed. And he brought in a guy that might not have the physical. Like, I haven't seen them side by side, but the physical attributes of Tierney, but like the energy, like he matches him physically. He matches him I guess a bit smarter than him, actually. His IQ is a bit higher than Tego, so. But
well, I think it's just because he knows it's a familiar system to what he's been playing for the last 5 years, right? So,
yeah.
Well, here's what I'll say. This is a lot.
Keep forgetting that he went to. I almost forget that he played at City.
Yeah, well, this is a lot of airtime, okay, for Kieran Tierney, considering the game that we just saw is in
for sure. So
here's how I'm going to close the Kieran Tierney discussion. Okay, no matter what, we're not selling to a rival. Would be my stance on Kieran Tierney. Okay?
So no Newcastle.
No Newcastle's out of the equation.
No Chelsea.
No, I will hold on to him and keep him and make him compete before I. There's absolutely no way he's going to another Premier League contender. I apologize.
I'd loan him to Celtic, and that's it. If they want to buy him after, if we don't see him being a part going forward, I would sell him back to Celtic.
Real Madrid loved him. He's still 25 years old.
Yeah. Well,
I would start. Let's not stoke those kinds of fires.
Let's keep it positive. Let's not sell him before.
No. I'm just saying it would never be in the Premier League. I would never want to face it.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get to the fun bit of the podcast every week, where we give our player ratings for the game we just saw. As usual, I know why. Let's start at the back. We always have to start at the back, I guess. So in net, Aaron Ramsdale. I didn't see much of the game, but I saw a 3-saver, I think, 2-saver, at least 2-saver. So that kept us in the game. At that point, I think it was 2 or 3, but 3-1, 2-1. Here we go again, right? So we'll start off with Ramsdale. We'll start off with Nick. You were able to see the game?
I was able to see the game, absolutely.
Okay, we'll start off with Nick.
Ramsdale, I didn't feel like I had to pay too much attention to him today. He was pretty good when he was called upon, but I think a lot of that was just indicative of the happy marriage that's happening right down the middle. So, because that's working, Ramsdale's just even better. He was calling a couple of times, particularly right near the end. I think I made a comment in the group about it where it was like, no, he had no interest in letting these guys even sniff goal today. So when he was called upon, he did what he was supposed to do, and that's why I was like 8. Good show.
We know how he loves his clean sheets, right? So
yeah, there's
what do you
all or nothing.
He was starving for that clean sheet. You could tell by the way that he made that stop. And let's just say we know who was on the other side, right? England's number 1 was on the other side. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't know if they showed him on camera, but I'm sure Southgate was watching at home. And this is how we made up some goal differential. He made up some some differential on Pickford today. with his performance, timely, the distribution, the leadership at the back, and this is 2 weeks running now. What was it last week? 0 shots, 0 attempts on net. What is that? What it was?
That's
0
right.
attempts on net. This week, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 maximum attempts on net, if I'm not mistaken. Right. So, another, again, as Nick alluded to, masterful performance by the entire back four. They bossed it, but I like that Ramsdale was greedy for that clean sheet. He gets an 8.
And we'll finish off Ramsdale with Gunnar Tech.
Yeah, I gotta agree with the guys here. Solid performance from him. I think he had maybe one play that scared me a bit. I think it was his distribution. I think he threw the ball out to Decore at one point, and it could have led to a chance, but luckily our defense bailed him out there. But no, overall solid performance from him. Handled the corners well. I think that's how Everton scored on us last game too. So a big change there. And yeah, the saves at the end of the game to keep that clean sheet was amazing. So solid 8 from me on Ramsdale today.
I like how this is going. We'll start at the right back this week, and we'll start with Ben White. As far as the 4 defenders go, we'll start with Tech.
Yeah, another solid game from Ben White. His second start in the lineup over the course of the 2 games. There wasn't really much to be worried about, I think, the entire game on the right side. He handled, I think it was Iwobi playing on the left side there. He handled him pretty well. And McNeil they were switching often. But he had a good game. I think he sort of gave the second assist on the first goal too. I think he was the one to lay it off to Zinchenko, who was not playing his left back position. But yeah, overall solid performance from him. I think it's only going to get better as he continues to start. So I'm going to give him an 8 as well.
Okay, Nick. What do you give Ben White, Nick? Benny Blanco.
All right. So Ben White. For me, I think he was masterful today, man. I thought Ben White was great. That was assist that you talked about earlier on that. It was on the second goal, I think, but he made a couple of like just cross the field like passes that were just nuts, or just setting up guys. He was so well involved. And then when it came to like eliminating guys like Iwobi and stuff, it didn't seem like it. I thought honestly it was his best game of the season. That is not an over exaggeration. I would say 9, but again, yes, I'm still thinking about the competition and who it is, but you only can play what's in front of you. And for me, Ben White was it's the reason why Tommy Asso can't get back in right now, and it's because Tommy Asso has been amazing, but Ben White is absolutely the reason, and this is what competition does. It just raises the level, and that's what I saw from him.
So you're giving him a 9?
A 9, yeah, 9.
Edson?
He was a little, I thought he got dribbled around or was in jeopardy a couple times a little bit early, but I mean that was small potatoes. He's back to whiteout standards now. He's back to whiteout standards. You know what I mean? And especially last match, I don't think we made enough of a big deal about him last time around in episode 14. So Ben White, Ben White, Benny Blanco, whiteout is what we know him as on this show.
Gets a what number?
Gets an 8. I'm whiting out Nick's 9 and I'm making it 8.
Okay. Off to the middle of the field, we start off with our Rolls Royce Frenchman and William Saliba. We'll start off with Nick this time. Saliba's rating.
Oh, you want me to go again? All right. So.
Did you start? Did you do the last one?
I think it's Edson to start. Edson, you start.
Go ahead, Edson.
Yeah. Saliba, unreal again. You know, I mean, that's just this is he was exactly what you said. He was a Rolls Royce out there. Barely put a foot wrong. I think Tech on that that ball into Zinchenko. I thought it was Saliba, to be honest with you. Yeah, well, I think if it wasn't that, then I think he picked one of the passes that, you know what I mean, that ended up making a goal or ended up being in a key pass. I mean, you know, this guy to me looks like he's back on top of his game. And you know, like I said, happy marriage, man. Forget about the little spat. These guys, you know, they looked physical out there. They looked there wasn't a peep from Mape, bro. There was not a peep from Mape. Okay, and I was making throw up emojis and whatnot when I saw that he got selected on the other side, and it was just a beautiful job by both of our center backs to just keep his ass quiet.
So what are we giving him? Sorry,
he's getting a 9 today. He's getting a 9 today. Saliba gets a 9 today.
Tech.
Typical Saliba performance, man. Solid.
Never really does anything wrong, does he?
No, and it's just it makes it seem so easy. Like the way he's just so calm on the ball, it helps our team so much.
Yeah.
Like I always think about, you know, the David Luiz, Socrates days, and like the difference in our center backs from then to now is like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But no, yeah.
Mustafi.
God.
It's like it's
oh my God.
It's hard to even just like think about those days and how much has changed since then. But no, didn't put a wrong foot in. You know, kept Mope quiet. I'm probably going to give him an 8 because I'm saving the higher rating.
See, I'm not going to be afraid to give Gabby his propers again. So don't worry, go on.
Yeah.
So you want to bump that up 1 or 2 or okay? All right, we'll leave it at 8. We'll end off Saliba. Nick.
All right, so you guys said a lot of stuff already. I mean, happy marriage, man. The two of them were nice. I'm gonna actually I'll give you Saliba, and since you're not doing a rating, and if you want, I'll give you Gabriel at the same time. So for Saliba, I'm giving him an 8. I thought he was great today. I thought, again, this partnership can just be awesome. I have to go back and look at that. Maybe it was earlier, I just didn't see it, but maybe you're right, Edson, about that goal. But you know, again, I've never felt so secure at the back. And when you bring up guys like Mustafi, you know, man's like that, and the problems that we've always had in the back, I mean, like it's nice to see that security blanket there. Gabby, the only reason that I'm going to rate him the exact same because of an 8 is that there's a couple of times I saw a couple of lazy passes, particularly late in the game. And I know the game was over at this point, but, you know, like clean it up and I would have probably given you a 10. But sure, I'm going to go with 8 because I thought the two of them were equal partners today. Equal partners in a happy marriage. That's okay. What I'm hearing.
All right, so I don't know whether to leave Edson for last for his boy. You know what? Go ahead, Edson. Let's hear Gabriel Magalhaes.
Well, I was in the same mind of Nick in the sense that I'm giving them equal scores, equal parts in this relationship, but I'm going 9s with each of them, as in 99, like Wayne Gretzky, the greatest of all time. Okay, this center back partnership is a dream come true. I mean, some people might want to question Kivior's intelligence coming to Arsenal because, I mean, how do you get past this Haas? You know what I'm saying? Like, really, how do you get past him? He's still so young, you know, like he's got all the physical attributes. He's got a nose for danger. He's got an eye for a pass. He's got pace. He's got attitude. Like, look at the battle that he waged against Onana with all the arms and the waving all day and the get up and he's got the shithousery. He's got, you know what I mean? Like he is Woo! Woo! I mean, I understand why Juventus kept on coming for him. You know, and they settled for the guy that played in front of him for Brazil and was selected in front of him for Brazil in Bremer. They settled for him. You know, if anything, if we know anything about these Italian championships and these great Italian clubs like a Juve, they got an eye for a center back. Okay, and they were trying to get one over on us. But let me tell you what. Our talent assessment and what we have going on in the front office right now is no joke, and we can't be had. And I'm glad he's on my side, you know. So again, you know, bigging him up. That was after a 10 last week. You know, he's clocking numbers right now. He's playing fantastic ball.
Well, he was the show's man of the match last week. He's probably well on his way to get that. But we still have one more rating to give him. Let's see where he ranks. Mr. Tech, where are we putting Gabriel?
I'm giving him a 9 this week.
Oh boy.
Edson, you know, I think described his performance well. He literally and figuratively shut Onana up today. Couple flailing arms here and there. You got to watch some of those sometimes, you know, worry about some of the refs and their calls these days. But there was one play which I think turned the game on its head today. It was his big tackle on Mope. It was a goal-saving chance, man. And then from there, the game changed really for us. So solid performance from him. You know, another solid performance from him. And yeah, a big part of our win today. So, you know, between him and Saliba, I think, you know, we can be pretty comfortable with that partnership for years to come, definitely.
Long time. Well, he's in the lead so far, but still got a lot of players to go. We'll end off the defense with Zinchenko. Well, like we always say, starts at left back on paper, but everything but left back only during the game. We'll start with Nick this time with Zinchenko's performance.
Zinchenko, man. See, this is where I'm giving a 9, okay? Like, it's a 9 for me for Zinchenko today. He once again showed me why certain men can't get in the team. That's why it just is what it is. Like, he's everywhere, man. He's like your prototype left back that plays like on all three sections of the field, man. You know, particularly in the midfield, he's so effective. He creates stuff for his boy up front, which I just sort of look at as Martinelli, and then obviously the captain that he does stuff for too. Because I'm not going to say his name because I know that's just how it's going to be. But you know, like again, for me today, it wasn't even the offensive side. It wasn't even like both of those. It's just, to me, it was like a whole performance, and it's the energy that I saw in him, and that you can trust him out there to play the entire game. You know, you can give him 90 minutes if necessary. I can't remember, was he substituted today? I'm just sorry, I'm drawing a blank. I don't think he was.
Yeah,
it was substituted, right? Yeah. What was the time on that? Do you remember?
82? 80,
yeah. And I mean, honestly, like, did he look like he needed a substitution? The dude was flying everywhere, man. And I would have been personally okay with just leaving him on. That's why, yeah, 9 for me, just on energy alone. What he did in the game is all relative. Like, he was obviously effective and he did what he had to do. But for me, just to see the way this guy's work rate, there's got to be a stat for that, right? Like, it was nuts. So that's where I'm going with Zinchenko.
Zinchenko, Tech.
So I'm giving Zinchenko a number 9 today.
Oh wow! Okay,
yeah. I'm saving a 10 for one player this week. So
oh boy, I can't wait.
I'm trying to be good with.
I think I know who it is, but
Tech and I are in the same mind here.
Solid performance from him. A key pass to open up the scoring today. I think part of the reason we don't see a major drop off with Party in the squad is because Zinchenko does sort of fill in the mid where needed. But yeah, man, he's just been a godsend for this team, man. Like, totally has changed the way we play with his addition in the squad. He helps Xhaka out a lot as well, I think, on that left side. And Martinelli's thriving with him at the moment. I think earlier in the season, they were having a bit of trouble figuring out their styles of play, to be honest. But more recently, you're seeing Martinelli back on the score sheet. And, a big reason of that is because Zinchenko is creating some opportunities for him in the mid, more so than a left back position. So solid performance from him, 9 for me.
Are we going to, is it going to be right across the board, Edson?
So I have a bunch of 9s, and like Tech, I have 1 10. But I don't know if any of my 9s flirted with a 10 as much as Zinchenko today. Okay. Like, that performance was sick. Okay. If it wasn't an assist, then it was a key pass, you know what I mean, to lead to an assist, or he was everywhere. Every blade of the grass performance. And the fact is, it's not like, oh, it's just for show, or it's just like a novelty. It's like, no, he creates a goal from that side. You know what I mean? Like for Saka, he breaks the lines. You know what I mean? And this is final third passes. This is what we'd kind of been lacking in when we were struggling there for a minute. He's giving us everything. Neat defensive plays. When called upon as well. Obviously that's not priority number one. He's getting up the field and he's making things happen, but he's still being responsible. Still being an outlet, and the way that the play builds on that side through he and Gabriel is. I mean, it is so high quality, and then today, I think Tech was talking about his relationship with Gabriel Martinelli, which is dope. But today it was a lot of Trossard over there after Trossard kind of started in the middle and then sort of shuttled out left and was essentially holding it down on that left wing and creating. And we saw, essentially that some of that connection there leading to Trossard creating for Odegaard. Which I thought was, for me, maybe our best goal of the day. I mean, I love the Saka one too, and obviously Saka's was wrong foot, but this was obviously it went through 2 defenders in deflection, but the way that it was built up, like I loved how it built. I mean, whatever. I mean, I might be getting off the subject here because I'm not even sure if exactly what the involvement was, but like Zinchenko, just like. Did you believe? Like, can you believe we have this squad? Can you believe that this is our defense?
35 million, buddy. Well, another great pickup, man.
Just gifted from Man City because of the guy's a good servant and he's a lifelong Arsenal fan, and they didn't think we were going to be a threat yet. I'm glad. Looks
that's 100% why we got Gabriel Jesus, and that's why we got Zinchenko from them, because by the time these guys come of age on the team, we'll be long. We'll win 2 more championships before them, but
it's happening because we're preying on Pep's arrogance, and Manchester City's arrogance makes it that much sweeter.
Well, that was always there. That's his middle name, but. Anyways, another show, another topic, another show. So you're giving him an 8 or a 9?
9. That's a 9. That's a 9. It's, like I said, it was almost a 10. Couple of risky passes, but like he's a swashbuckler, man. You gotta live with that because he creates way more, quality than he does in creating havoc. With things coming back the other way at us. So 9.
Okay. So we'll move into the middle of the park and the midfield, the defensive end of the midfield. Starter, Granit Xhaka. Start with Tech.
Yeah, Xhaka, you had an okay performance. Nothing too crazy. I think he put in a couple of good hard tackles on their mid. They have a strong mid. I got to admit, Everton, between Onana, Idrissa Gueye, and Doucouré, that's a pretty athletic mid to deal with, and we started with Xhaka, Jorginho, and Odegaard. Two of them being not the fastest players in the league.
Not being the fastest, really, but
yeah, but he held his own. He got into some tackles. I don't think he put much, like, a wrong foot in, really. I think early in the game he may have had a flailing elbow on Onana. Again, you just got to watch out for those little things, just knowing Xhaka's history. But no, another solid performance from him. Nothing specific to highlight, really. Just another, good general performance from Xhaka. So I'm going to give him a 7 today.
okay. Edson.
I think Tech nailed it. There was one instance where we created something really nice, and Xhaka was on it, and he should have just crossed it, and it ended up going out, I think, for maybe like a goal kick or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. It ended up being just snuffed out, and it was an incredible build-up. And usually, you expect Xhaka to make the right decisions in those moments. Outside of that, he brought the steal. It was a tough battle in the midfield. And, when Partey came on, he was a lot steadier too. So Xhaka 7, a standard 7, good performance.
And we'll round off Granit Xhaka with Nick. No, Nick? No.
Oh, sorry. No, sorry. I was on mute. Sorry about that.
Okay.
No, sorry. Just quickly on Xhaka. But if we're talking Xhaka, I've always had my issues with Xhaka. But once again, I thought he was actually better in the second half, and it's no knock against Jorginho, but I thought he was better in the second half when his partner came back in the game and felt and looked healthy. So if I'm going to give a rating, I gotta go 7 in the first, 8 in the second, but I'll say 8 for the game because of the difference you can tell when you have your partner that you've been playing half the season with jumps in. So that's what I liked about his game today. But you guys said it all. So it's all good.
Okay, so we'll move to the partners.
Why we stopped to edit?
I'm gonna leave that in. We'll start with his partner, not his regular partner, but the new one. We'll start with Jorginho. We'll go next to Jorginho, and we'll have Edson start with him.
Yeah, Jorginho. Like I said, like I was saying a little bit earlier in the show, maybe he knew he was coming off at the half, or maybe he was just a little bit out of sorts, like having the specter of Partey over him, knowing that he's eventually going to be coming back into the lineup. So it seemed like he was trying to do a little bit too much out there early on, but he still wins balls. He still, wins possession. He still keeps things ticking. And, I wouldn't say that he was the culprit of the struggles in the first half, in the first 35 or so minutes. I wouldn't say it was necessarily him. I think it was maybe connection between maybe he and Odegaard and maybe some positioning. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but once we got that right, and I think it was an energy thing too, and he was a part of the turnaround. So I'll give him a little bit lower than Xhaka. I'll call him a 6. Not his best performance, but I think for circumstances beyond his control, like I said, maybe knowing that Partey was going to come in and get some minutes, and that he was going to be rested. So trying to do a little too much early, but eventually settled in and had a good performance after that. It, at least was involved in our first 2 goals. So.
Okay, Nick, Mr. Jorginho. No, again, Nick, nothing.
Right, did you just give the one?
No, I got something. I was just looking for my feed again. I got something. Jorginho is class. Like in the first half, again, it's almost like he's still learning the system. But I mean, in so doing that, I mean, there's something to be said about just experience and coming in and making sure nothing gets past you. In the first, I want to say 35 minutes of the game, um, Everton was making it a little bit difficult, particularly in the midfield. I almost felt like, I wish Partey was starting this game right now. This is sort of, put some things in perspective. Like it just seemed like, oh no, we could probably give up one. I didn't feel like there was ever any worry that we'd lose the game. I just didn't like the way it started, and I think a lot of that had to do with some just mishandles in the midfield. That being said, as it progressed in and around, like I said, about the 35-minute mark, you could see like Arsenal starting to put their stamp on the game, and I think that started in the midfield. And I think a lot of that started with Jorginho just making the right pass. All I could see was triangles around the field. Like I was just drawing it, like just making the right passes. Not even like near the end of the game where they were just holding possession, but in the middle there, and then things just started to change. And next thing you know, everything was starting to get broken down. And I think you got to credit that guy for that. But it took time, and that's why I'm going 7. I thought I heard someone else give him a 7. I'm going to go with the same.
Tech.
I think a lot of what I'm going to say is probably going to replicate what Edson said, but maybe let's start with the rating first. I'm giving him a 6. Not his greatest game in an Arsenal shirt, but a solid alternate to Partey. To Edson's point, maybe he did know he was coming off at half, and that was playing on his mind. There were a couple points in the game. There's a few things that I remember from the game from Jorginho. One was his chance on one of our corner kicks. I think he hit it on his left foot over the net. Wasn't really a great chance on goal there, but and then the second one was he was making the right pass to Saka, but the weight of pass wasn't right. Saka couldn't get there in time, so for those reasons only, I'd say a 6 is fair with his rating. But yeah, it's good having him as a backup to Partey. We're gonna have a lot of competitions. He'll get his minutes, and I think he'll have better games. But yeah, an okay performance from Jorginho. But yeah, a 6 is fair in my mind.
Well, you think just sorry to interrupt, Reg. Like, you think he started slow too? Tech, or no? Like,
yeah, I think he did.
I think that, right? I felt like I saw that. He just started slow, right? But he picked it up. But
yeah, no, it's credit to Everton too, right? They defensively, like the first 35 minutes and 40 minutes.
They had their legs about them. Yeah, and then eventually their legs kind of ran out.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, they made it tough for him.
Which is why he'd be so much more effective, I think, as just a second half guy coming in against those legs, and he'll just, boss the place as a substitute. And that's why I'm so happy to see Partey again. So there it was. Yeah.
Partey coming back is huge for us. I don't know if we're going to get into sub ratings, but I think once he came in, you see that difference, right? So
agree.
So anyways, not a slight on Jorginho. I think he did what he had to do. He was on the field when we scored our first 2 goals. So again, a 6 from me on Jorginho today.
I think it's kind of without watching the game. I think you guys hit it on the head earlier. It might be too many games too quickly for him because he wasn't playing at Chelsea.
Right. Yeah.
And to come in and learn a new system and then have Partey's injury where now you got to play probably 90 when you haven't played for a long time. I mean, it's kind of two things there. Too many games too early for Jorginho at this point, and now we have to kind of blood Partey back into getting to a point where he can play 85, 90 minutes for us. So it's kind of maybe it's a good situation in that case that we can get him a little bit more rest and we can get Partey up to speed again. So I don't mind that.
Yeah, the only other point I'll say on that, Reg, is just we compare him to Partey, right? They play the same position. Like there's a huge difference in quality there. Like Jorginho is, he's a great player. And the Italy system, like he didn't have this great run with Italy on the lead up to the World Cup, whatever. But on his game, he's a good player, and he makes those passes, and he's pretty good when it comes to tackling and finding space. So, and setting the pace of the game. So he's a good player. But I think the challenge for him is that he'll always be compared to Partey and what Partey brings into the team as well. So,
and I think that we have an interchangeable 3 now.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get to see that at some point during the season, because I think that it could be a deadly look. So,
for sure,
agree.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we'll go to our captain, Martin Odegaard. We'll start off with Nick.
Man, like, he's the cap, man. He's the captain for in so many different, like, okay, so he's not exactly your emotional captain, and you could tell that, but I think he leads by example. And today, once again, I felt like he did. He was collecting them. He was dishing them out. I mean, him and Saka together are just like, it's wonder ball, man. Like it's what is why you pay a ticket to go and see these guys. So, again, like the fact to me is that I just saw that it felt like we were on Everton's side of the field more than 70% of the time, and I think a lot of that had to do with Odegaard and the way and the way that he was setting up these guys in the run. I think he received, like, that was the last goal was his, right, from Nketiah, was it? Was that his?
Third goal,
right? Yeah. Third goal, yes.
Trossard, no?
Yeah, Trossard.
Was it Trossard? Okay. Oh, yes, that's right. Oh, that's the next guy that's going to get my highest rating too. He's my favorite. Anyways, I mean, when I'm seeing the ball there, and you're seeing the shots on goal and the possession pile up on this side of the pitch, I think a lot of that has to do with your Ozil's replacement. And for me, that's a solid 8. Yeah.
Solid 8. Okay. Tech.
Captain performance. He the start of the game, he wasn't creating as much as we're used to or used to seeing, but he played the full 90 today, and as the game opened up, you saw a lot more of his quality, right? The third goal, typical, making a late run into the box, hitting it with his right foot into the roof of the net. And then you saw a bit of his personality there. He pulled a little, I don't know if you caught his celly, but
I did.
Those dance moves might need some work, but no, it was a good performance from him. I wonder if Arteta gave him the full 90 for a specific reason. Maybe they're trying to just give him a bit more opportunity to get back to his normal self with games coming up. But a solid performance overall. I'm giving him an 8 today.
Okay.
90 minutes, eh? He gave him 90 today. That's right.
Edson.
So that's this is one of my 9s. I got a 9. I'm hanging a 9 on Odegaard. Captain's performance, as Tech said, fiery. I think he left a foot in once or twice in the ref's face, and he squared up with a linesman at one point. I mean, I think he like when he started to really, like, when his fire started to stoke is when things really seemed to like kind of start to pick up. So yeah, he again, as we always like to bring up, what did we pay Madrid for him again? With
30?
Right? No buyback, right? No buyback, right. But
Eddie doesn't play that.
That's right.
Buyback.
That's right.
Not with our coach. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, coming back after his 1 game break from the armband, he looked rested from it. You know what I mean? He looked ready to carry it again, carry the mantle again. So
you just bring that up. His one game break.
That's right.
That was the captain's move that he made when he gave up that armband, man.
Absolutely.
That all goes through it. You know?
Absolutely. And I think that he felt his superpowers again when he put it back on. You know, it was like the Green Lantern's ring. It was charged up. You know, and yeah, exactly. He had one of those performances today. That was a 9.
Hey. So we'll go to our fabulous Belgian. We'll start with Tech, and give us your rating for Trossard.
This guy's grown on me, man. Like very quickly. Another 70-minute performance from him, but a solid 70 minutes. He's just silk, man. The way he has the ball on both feet, it's so easy to watch, and the way he set up Odegaard for that goal, you know, I think it was on his left foot, so it was his weaker foot, and to put that ball back without even just knowing that someone would be there to finish it is just, you know, it's just so telling how good this guy is, man. I can't believe we got him for the amount of money that we got him for.
We say that a lot on this show.
It's
Trossard, Odegaard, Saliba, Gabriel, Magalhaes, Martinelli, like
crazy the amount of value we're getting off these purchases. It makes losing out on Mudryk so easy. Like, who is that guy? He's 100 and something on the bench. Like, I don't even want to spend time talking on him. But no, Trossard is going to make it hard for Jesus to come back into the lineup. I think more than Eddie. But you know, just to have that variety and options in that front line with him now, because he can play left, center, or right. In my mind, just such a crucial addition to the team, and I don't know, man. I love. I'm starting to love the guy. So, solid 9 from me on 70 minutes too. Again,
I praise.
Yeah.
Nick Trossard.
Let me tell you something, man. Like, there's a reason why this guy is my favorite gunner right now. Okay, like, no, I'm not saying this because, like, to put him in to play the 9, you know, was one thing. Which I wouldn't even call it genius. I think is what needed to happen. But I mean, it's not just how he's raised the level of the guys around him, particularly Martinelli, who he's looking like Jesus is back in there, you know, because I think they play a very similar style, like not just from the energy, but I mean in the short spaces and like just making those little, like, you don't have that much room in the box. Like this guy just. He's such an intelligent player. I think he makes, like, he works so well with both of the guys on his wings, plus an Odegaard. Odegaard, what's wrong with me? Anyway, he plays so well, and brings so much energy and so much IQ to the team. And today it was on display again, and it led to goals. So I mean, for me, it's 10. There's my 10 for the day. That's who I give a 10 to. Yep.
Okay, Edson.
What I'd say about Odegaard, or not Odegaard? What would I say about Leandro Trossard? I mean, the versatility to play the 9 from last game to now playing, looked like the wing today with Martinelli sort of patrolling the middle. He presses much better than I remember seeing at Brighton. So he's got the work rate. You know, he's responsible. He's creative. Gabriel Jesus must be foaming at the mouth at the possibility of playing up front and combining with him. I mean, we talk about the price, but this, I mean, the return on investment is what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? The stats, the goals, the big contributions in big games, and to already have shown his versatility in this way. I'm excited to see him play in his preferred position in behind the striker, playing proper number 10 when Jesus comes back. This for me is a 9 performance. He, not just on the assists, but in the build up play and the stuff that didn't involve proper chances on goal or whatever. He's fit. He fits us like a glove. He fits us like a glove. So a 9 for Trossard.
Well, there's a difference there's a difference in value when you can actually coach players instead of having to just buy players. But
well, and here's the other thing. When he came off at 70, whatever it was, he almost had a moment where it was like, oh, he was a little bit hurt that it was him. But then he realized, like, oh, I'm not being brought up. I'm being rested right now. You know what I mean? I'm the first man off after Jorginho, but I'm being the first man that's actually being rested right now after Jorginho.
Saturday, yes.
Yeah,
for sure.
What I write you guys in the chat, man. I don't think somebody's ever going to start again. Sorry, man. This is his spot. Say, listen, there's nothing wrong with being in basketball. There's a term called the sixth man, and there's nothing wrong with that. And if you got to be the sixth man, you got to come off the bench once in a while. Then it is what it is, and be effective. And that's going to be Eddie from now on.
Yeah, but forget about Eddie. I mean, Jesus is about to come back, so the question. Yeah. Well, so then the question that I'll ask to you then is, all right, so Jesus comes back. Who are you sitting?
I like the problem right here. Like, it is what it is. I like the problem. So, I like, to be honest with you, that's going to be a tough call. But I like the problem.
I don't know.
I like the problem.
And this is what we talked about maybe 2 or 3 shows ago. When everybody that's on loan comes back, what the hell are you going to do?
I see an embarrassment of riches.
It is an embarrassment of riches, but some guys are going to feel like they should be playing, and it's going to get to the point where, okay, if you're not going to play me, get rid of me. But
there's guys like
there's a higher upside than another player that is getting run, but he's just having a good patch of play. So these are the problems you're going to have. They're good problems. Don't get me wrong. For us as fans, for the coaches and everybody else, they probably would sleep over that just as much as losing. But
listen,
anyways,
we'll money to recoup, and there's nothing wrong with having those type of assets, especially with the way that these squads are spending money these days. Then Newcastle being a potential rival, they've got a lot of money to spend.
Yeah, but we don't sell to rivals. We're not Man City. We're not that arrogant that we sell to rivals. No chance. If you want to leave the team, you're going to France, you're going to Germany, you're going to Italy. You're not staying in England.
They do sell to rivals, but they do win titles. And there's no denying that. So I mean, if we do end up selling to rivals, I think it'll be in a situation because we're winning titles. Right?
We don't sell to rivals. I don't care if we win 10 in a row. You're not getting anyone from our squad.
Hell no.
Not again.
Hell no.
I think the last one was Van Persie. Not again. Never again.
So last thing on Leandro before we get off him. That's 2 starts at the center forward position. This helps Nick's 10 rating and love for him. 2 starts, 2 points in 2 games. If he's starting on Saturday and keeps it up.
That's right.
Could be
he's finding his feet, I think. I think the first game wasn't
fantasy squad, man. Love him. Love him.
As far as finding his feet within this team and how he combines with players, I think he's starting to find that, and it's going to be scary for this second half of the season. Well, towards the end of the season for teams who aren't ready. So we'll go to the left side, and We'll rate Gabriel Martinelli. We'll start with Edson.
Martinelli, yet another 9. And today played in the 9 slot. You know what I mean? And it very much looked like R9, my generation's Ronaldo. He
wow.
Yes,
That's
yes.
big.
Playing up the middle.
This is another one of those 6-1 like predictions. Like this guy.
That's big, man.
Lots of pressure, played with power, finishing, clinical. I mean, the guy was an absolute Clydesdale out there today, man. He was beasting. Martinelli was amazing. So yeah, that's a 9. He's a 9 for me.
Nicely.
Short and sweet.
Nick, what are you giving Martinelli?
That's a 9 for me. A really solid 9 again, just because, again, this dude there was talk about him being out of the squad, just literally a month ago, like, oh, let's start Trossard. And again, like, I'm not saying that Trossard's not my guy.
We should start Trossard. There was one person that should have come out of there, and it wasn't Martinelli. But
yeah, exactly. And that's just it. There was a lot of talk like that going on. I was like, just wait. Maybe it's the people around him that are causing these problems. And all I can see now is you put sign on. All right, so they're not the same player. I get that part, but they do still do a lot of the same things. And I think that's what he needed. He needed a Gabriel Jesus type player to come in there and do and pick him up. And that's exactly what's happened. And he's scoring again. And like, how many did he have today? He got 2 today, right? Oh, it's his 2? Pretty sure it's his 2, yeah. And I credit the people around him, but I'm still going to give him as high as a 9 and basically say, welcome back. You never left, Man
of the match is tight here.
Yeah. Two goals. The second one was like a proper number 9 goal. Too.
Yeah.
Off of the beautiful play there from Eddie to get it across. The way they combined was sick.
That was the 4th goal, right?
Right. The one where Saka nicked it and he finished. I mean, again, super clinical. And I watching that performance today, it makes you think like, yeah, because he can be wasteful at times. You know what I mean? Or like. At times, decision making, as my brother once pointed out, it's a little poor. He doesn't play exactly like the Arsenal way. There was a play early on where I was like, oh, greedy. You know what I mean? Like he could have totally put that into space for Trossard and then maybe ran in behind or whatever. I think his instincts are almost a little more suited to being up top. That might be where he's most dangerous. And I was glad that we got to get a little taste of that because we've been calling for it. We hadn't seen it, and we saw Trossard in the lineup, and it was Trossard playing through the middle. Today, we got to see Martinelli through the middle, and it was beautiful and fruitful and an industrious performance, a boss performance, a 9. Again, another guy. He came close to flirting with a 10 too. So.
Well, before we get into text rating. You didn't rate Martinelli yet, have you, Tech? No, not yet.
No.
Nice.
Okay. So before I know, I think that now we're starting to see Mikel Arteta's thought process on when it comes to positioning and players on his team. He's always wanted to do this, I think. And when you prepare to play Gabriel Jesus up top, and then the game time comes and now he's on the wing and Martinelli's in the middle now, or Martinelli's on the wing and Trossard's behind him, or Trossard's up top now. How are you going to adjust on the fly for that when you've prepared for something else all week? So he's going to be able to interchange all those players, and you're going to have to come up with a very big performance because you're not going to be prepared for that. So I think it's more of a surprise type of thing rather than like a normal thing that you would prepare for. So I'm happy to see him finally get all his players back, and let's see the jumble of players that he's going to put out there at one time and watch it all work every single time. So, Tech, let's get your rating on Martinelli's performance today.
This guy is just ask Seamus Coleman how his day went today.
Oh my God.
They're center backs, right? Like
throwback.
Minutes, man. He's I think he has to be the fastest guy on our squad, right? Coming at players. I know Saka probably has most dribbles, but when Martinelli's coming at you with his speed and his directness, and he's becoming a fox in the box too now. This guy's the possibilities with him are endless. I think up top in that left wing position or up front striking. So it's
you'll see him striking again for sure. You'll see him striking again.
Oh, he's going to number 9. He's got to get there, right? He's got to get there.
But 2 goals. Like you would think that I'd be giving him the highest rating of the night, but I'm giving him a strong 9.
Yeah.
I think there were times where he was a bit greedy and didn't make the right decisions on a play, but it's hard. It's
your strikers to be that, though. You don't want your strikers to be in a position in the box and pass. Not me. I don't want my strikers to pass.
Which is why I was okay with him playing that way today, because he kind of went in there with a striker's mindset, and I understand it, and it paid off.
Yeah,
100%. And when Vieira came in, you sort of see their partnership.
I love it.
They're buddies, so you play with your friends, you play well, right? So
as the game was getting out of hand a bit, saw him a bit more relaxed, and then started to play the 1s and 2s with a bunch of guys. But yeah, solid performance from him. A big reason why we won today. But yeah, I'm obviously saving my 10 through the process of elimination for someone else.
So I'll just mark it down now then for you. How about that? So we'll go to the right side of the field and our star boy, Bukayo Saka. We'll start with Nick. Your rating for Saka today.
Here's the thing. Let me preface this first. The kid he's so tough. He presents so many different challenges to the guys that are trying to hang in there with him. He's been super tough. The dude is, I guess they call it double marked, in this league. He's fouled all the time. I'm not sure if he's probably one of the highest fouled in the league. But I mean, why I give him a 10 is for those reasons alone, because he draws so much attention, and he gives his teammates an opportunity to shine because they have to pay attention to him. That's why I call him the star boy, man. That's why I've been saying that for a while. And today he proved it again. I mean, that goal was, I don't know, you spin it how you want, but where he put it, Pickford had no chance. Pickford
was on the ground before he even shot it.
It's like you ever played pool before? The corner pocket. That's what it looked like. To where he was putting it, where it was from. Pickford had no chance, and the goal was beautiful in itself. But everything that he does and handles it, the way that he handles that pressure, and the way that he handles the competition, for knowing that they're focused around him. And you're seeing how it's having an effect on everybody else, and how they're more open, can do more creative things with the ball. I mean, on the other side of the pitch, to me is why he gets 10 almost. I mean, not all the time, but he probably should. Today, it's an easy 10 for me, and not just with one goal, but it's everything he did around him to open up the other side that makes it a 10.
Edson.
Yeah, I agree. 10.
That's our first 10 all around performance.
This is my 10 rating. I mean, it's about the decisive moment. It's football, and seasons are about moments. You know what I mean? And that was going to be a nervy situation going in at halftime. You know what I mean? 40 odd minutes. things were getting really, really nervy. And after that goal, you could tell the whole tone of the crowd changed. You know what I mean? The tone that they were singing in, everything became festive. And you could feel the weight off of everybody. And that's why, that's what led to the second goal, happening so quickly. And again, who was in on that? That's Saka creating again. You know what I mean? It's not just a goal and assist, but that's a goal and assist. Well, I wouldn't call it a dual one, but a turnover forced, or it's escaping me right now. But I mean, all on one play. You know what I mean? And essentially putting it to bed. Allowing the manager to make a change at halftime. You know what I mean? That was a really comfortable one, not feeling, he's going to have to worry about, messing up the flow. And obviously, we got the third before Trossard came out of the game. So, but I got a stat here from my guy, Silent Gooner, on Instagram. Shout out to Silent Gooner. Bukayo Saka has become the 6th youngest player in Premier League history to reach 50 goals and assists in the competition. So goals plus assists in the competition. 6th youngest. Okay. Wow. He joins the likes of Michael Owen, Wayne Rooney, Robbie Fowler, Cesc Fabregas, and Chris Sutton. Right. So, I mean, that's in terms of Premier League history. That's royalty.
There's some legends in there. Yes, there are.
That's essentially, he's walking with the legends on this one. So that, again, coupled with seeing some more of the, kind of prickliness in his game, kind of come out through the game as well. Competitive fire. He's leading also now. You know what I mean? He's leading also. And that's to go outside of making himself wide open in the box, seeing what he wanted to do, knowing exactly what he wanted to do. You know what I mean? Let that thing, run to his right, back to his left, puts it in front for his right, all in one motion there, that bit of skill, and then the finish with his wrong foot. I mean, this guy's playing with the league out here. He and Rashford, and we have to say it, he and Rashford right now are on another plane. Everybody else is kind of, wallowing somewhere down below that. These guys are in rare air right now. And it just makes Southgate's stupid decisions just a couple of months ago look that much more glaring. 10.
The amount of time that we're giving Saka right now is so well deserved. We really should have spent a lot less time on Tierney. Really, I feel bad because this is well deserved. This is really well deserved. I don't think we got into Tech yet.
Well, Tech already gave us. Said he's already saved his 10 for this guy. So I'm assuming you haven't changed.
Yeah. That's right. I guess that makes it a man of the match too, right?
Gotta be, because that's the first 10 across the board we've had since we've been doing the player rating. So some performance.
Worth every penny.
Star boy, world class.
And where is he from? Dale End.
That's
our academy. So thank you for that.
Honestly,
so we'll go to the bench. I don't know if you guys want to do everybody for the sake of time.
Might as well. We'll run through them.
You want to do it? Okay, all right. So
let's run through it real quick. I gotta jump off soon.
Okay. Yep.
Before we hit the bench. Before we hit the bench, I got a few things I need to say about Saka because I didn't get into it.
Get it in.
Sorry, Tech. You have to do Saka. You said 10.
You got the rating. We know he's the man of the match.
Yeah.
The kid is amazing. Honestly, just the goal itself. But Edson already called this, so I'm not going to repeat it too much. But the goal itself, there is a goal. There's a I hate talking about Van Persie these days, but there is a Van Persie goal that I recall where he has this half turn and he hammers it with his right, being a left-footed player, into the roof of the net. It had that feeling, And then when he ran to the corner, and he's continuing with his Thierry Selly now. You know, they had that conversation, I don't know how many weeks ago, about big players are not nice. This guy is living that quote right now.
Right.
Honestly, like the way he is playing
Love it.
is ridiculous. And then him, setting up that second goal essentially, right? With his challenge on Idrissa Gueye there. Like
was it off?
It wasn't. No. The one time we actually want to talk about VAR and it being right.
And line it up, man. Line it
up. Thank you. Finally, something going our way with VAR. But yeah, it was a clean goal, and it was all thanks to him. So, like, I think his 10 rating across the board is well deserved. You know, I think Mikolenko, I'll give him credit for the first 30 minutes. He was getting stuck in with Saka. He was getting frustrated, but I think he unleashed all his anger with that shot in the net. So, like, man, honestly, if Saka keeps this up, he's in contention for player of the season. Not only young player of the season, but player of the season. So
for the league, you mean?
100%.
Oh, he should be, but let's see how he gets robbed this year.
Yeah, but anyways, that was my Saka love. Love it. We'll see more of that on Saturday, I'm sure.
Well, you know what? Hopefully by 45 minutes we don't, but we'll see. Let's run through the bench really quickly. We'll start off with the player that got the most minutes off the bench, and that's Thomas Partey. And we'll start with Tech.
Yeah, love to see him back, obviously. Last game he had 10 minutes. We didn't really learn much from that performance, but to put 45 minutes in and to look like he hasn't stepped a foot out of the squad, like, it was a perfect performance from him. And we scored 2 more goals with him in the lineup. But he just gives us something else, right? I think he frees up the other 2 midfield spots to join the attack a little bit more freely. Huge cover for both Saliba and Gabby and Ben White when he's there. So, a solid 45 minutes from Partey, and I imagine he's going to be back in the starting lineup next game too. So, for me, it's a 8 for Thomas Partey.
Okay, Edson.
I mean, I want to give him a 9. I'm going to give him a 9. He really popped up in some places, and a couple of times you just notice like the difference. Like, I mean, Jorginho certainly has a nose for danger, but seeing Partey with his athleticism and his size, we were kind of struggling in that first part of the first half there with their physicality and, like losing headers in the midfield and things like that. And when Partey comes in, all that is done. Okay. It's erased. All right. Like, like when they're healthy and on their best day, Casemiro can't hold a candle to Partey. He can't. Yeah, sorry. I'll tell you right now. He can't do what Partey does. You know what I mean? In terms of physically, defensively, the way that he dictates, the way that he fairly wins the ball and get things moving in the other way to, maybe more goals than Casemiro. Certainly he's Brazilian, but like in terms of being responsible, being in the right place, nose for danger, keeping things ticking, like setting the pace, like, that was a difference, I think, as well between he and Jorginho. The pace that he set in that second half, and not just, like I said, just coverage, midfield coverage, and sniffing out danger. I mean, that's he's among my 9s. You know what I mean? He was an 8 flirting with a 9, and I responded to the flirting. You know what I mean? I winked back. He got a 9 today. Partey, Rolls Royce. Forget about Rolls Royce. He's a Lamborghini SUV. You know what I mean?
Suicide doors.
Nick. Very quickly, one play in particular where, I mean, it was like I felt like we had a third center back at the back where he was just holding guys up. I think it might have been an Iwobi or something like that, but the commentator made reference to it. They're like, wow, look, that's what they've been missing back there, when Partey enters the game. So I'll agree with Edson. Everything you said, I'm probably going to go with an 8 as well. Yeah. I'd like to go with 9, but I'm giving 9s out like this is Christmas. And 8, I think, is enough for me, especially because we only saw 45 minutes. 45 great minutes, but 45 minutes nonetheless.
Okay, so we'll move to Patrick Vieira. He had 18 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
What's his contribution? We'll start with Edson.
He always looks dangerous and had a couple of chances there in the box. Thought he might score. He's just, and like Tex said, his little bromance with Gabriel Martinelli is just so feel good. So I'm giving him a feel good 7. We'll call it, and in the cameo minutes, feel good 7.
Okay, Nick.
7 here as well, man. And I was gonna, you stole that one from me because I was like, they're like their brothers out there. They must room together, So I don't know. They look good together. I thought, again, I like just guys that are dangerous and make the play a bit more active, especially when you're coming into that role to make the other team feel uncomfortable. And I mean, if he's doing that already, can you imagine this kid in like 2 or 3 years?
It's gonna be scary because he's a stat hog, man. That guy creates and makes, and
he comes on and just brings the energy he's supposed to. That's his job, right? And that's what he's doing. And you got to be like, that shows maturity at such a young stage, right? So yeah, it was fun watching him, 100%.
Tech.
7.
Yeah, not a lot of minutes to give him a true rating, but I think a 7 is fair. Just like the other guy said. A couple of chances I think he should have buried. I think it was on his wrong foot and he didn't get a good shot off. But yeah, he has a lot going for him. I think he's giving Arteta a headache as well, just based off of how he's performing in training, based on his quotes. And yeah, we got Europa League coming up against one of his former Portuguese rivals, so we could see him getting a lot more minutes in those games. And given his experience, maybe Arteta gives him a starting spot in the lineup to show us what he can actually do. So looking forward to watching those games, and hopefully, he does get on the lineup and gets those minutes. So solid 7 for me in a quick cameo from him.
Speaking of Europa League, we're going to run into one of our former players as well, Mr. Hector Bellerin. So hopefully we can rip him apart on his side. Another guy that's got 18 minutes was Eddie Nketiah. We'll start with Nick.
All right. So let me start this out by saying I can obviously leave this podcast in your good hands because I gotta go. I got a Leafs game to delve into right now, and that's what pays the bills. Okay. So that being said, as you could probably hear that in the background, let me just give my final ratings here. Eddie, solid. I was complaining about him. I thought a couple of times that he probably could have done better. I know a ball that you said was behind him. I don't know. Everything I see near the goal now, I'm just hoping that Eddie can sort of put in. But, it is what it is. But, right after I said that, he made such a great run. And I think, was that off of Zinchenko? Who made that pass?
Zinchenko picked him out.
Yeah, like just totally led him properly. He just, for once, he was in the right spot. And he put that ball from his, it seems like he passed it with his back heel almost. And he put it right on him. And boom, in the goal. Great spot. 7 for me. And it was the 7 because of what happened, because I was taking off points from before. For the rest of, who are the last 2 guys that got in? Reg?
Tierney and Smith Rowe.
You guys can go ahead and give them ratings. For me, I wouldn't go higher than a 6 for either of them, just because, it didn't seem like they got the most, and they made the most out of it, getting in there finally. To me, it was just more nice to see Rowe more than anything else. I think he's probably going to get a chance to start. He came in for Odegaard, right? Is that it? Smith Rowe?
Yeah. Coming for
right there?
You mean for Odegaard?
No.
Saka.
I think Odegaard had the full number.
Yeah,
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So, well, I felt like he was playing that midfield role anyways, but center midfield role anyways. But yeah, it was nice to see him. I think that is what's the phrase for it when you're foreshadowing potentially getting that call against Bournemouth probably on the weekend. And with that being said, 6 is all around. I look forward to seeing him on the weekend. That's my prediction.
All right.
But I got to run, guys. Really, it is what it is. I love you guys. Good times.
Okay.
You'll see me back. If you want my prediction, it'll be similar to this weekend. Last weekend. For this game, which is in and around 3 or 4-0 on the weekend. Another clean sheet. That's what it's going to be. I'll tell you this later. All right, guys?
We'll mark that down and hold you to it.
All right, bet.
All right. Take care, Nick. Yeah. All right. So we'll move to Emile Smith Rowe. Well, it won't be. We won't have three ratings. So we'll just give us a rating then. I'll give you guys. I'll let you guys give a rating out of 15. Then how about that?
That's another feel good 7. We'll call him.
7. Right.
Feel good 7.
Tech.
Yeah, I'll give him a 7. Just seeing him back in the lineup, it's nice to see. The crowd is chanting or singing their song. So it's good to have him back. I think.
Sing that without Smith Rowe.
Yeah.
Well, he just had a chance in the box that he kind of was, wasn't on his toes for, and he was slow on. I'm not going to mark him down too much after being, out for that much time. So
yeah,
happy to have him back.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to.
Okay,
learn a lot from those short amount of minutes.
Actually, we didn't get ratings for you for Eddie, but we'll go to Tierney.
Okay.
At Tech.
Yeah, Tierney. I don't think he did much wrong today in a short amount of minutes. I think he lost the ball once, but he was quick to track back and get the ball back. So, other than that, I don't think there's really much to say about Tierney's performance tonight. Good to see him in the lineup, though. Get some minutes. Hopefully he gets more minutes in some of the other competitions coming up as well. But let's give him the 6, not because he played bad, but because there wasn't much to really say about his performance.
Okay, Edson?
Well, I was pretty delighted at him playing the Zinchenko role. And, he did kind of stretch his legs, get to the other side of the pitch, pinged a long pass. I forget who that was to, but I love this performance. Like Tech said, he did a good job when he gave the ball away, tracking back, getting things going back in the other direction, and picking the ball away cleanly. He just looks like he's ready to play now. So we'll give him another feel good 7.
And Eddie. Second to last.
Yeah.
Eddie.
Yeah. Eddie, goal created in 8 minutes. That's what you want to see off the bench from him. So I'm going to give him, for the bench performance, I'm going to give him an 8.
Wow. Okay. Tech.
I'm going to give him a feel good 7, like Edson says. His one chance that he missed. Would have loved him if he would have went around Pickford there and slotted in the net, but decided to shoot it off his chest for whatever reason. Looking like old school Eddie, but I'm not going to fault him for that. He's been out of the lineup for a couple games now. But yeah, his work on that final goal by Martinelli was brilliant. Put it in the right spot. So yeah, I think a 7 is fair for Eddie, definitely.
And the last rating we're going to give tonight is for our coach or our manager, not coach, our manager, Mikel Arteta. We'll start with Tech with this one.
Yeah, I think.
Did we start with Tech a second ago?
We'll start with Edson this one.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's start with. I got to give him a 10. I'm giving him a 10 because of how he's pulled us out of this funk, how he's now appearing to kind of have found another 11 to work that works really well. Having stuck with it, sometimes you just got to keep it the same, and it paid dividends. And we made a +4, and this year, like this shows the difference in the squad. Remember what happened with our game in hand last season, right? We made good on our game in hand this season. Okay, that was to our advantage this season. We picked up the points. We shortened the gap in goal differential now to 6. You know what I mean? Like we're being comprehensive now. We look like champions today, and we've had those kind of performances a couple of times in a row now, coming back from some pretty shit performances. So. For righting the ship, making the calls and the moves that have saved our season, and selecting right in the transfer market. I mean, all of it is a cumulative 10 for me.
Check.
I think Edson hit it on the nail there. I think a 10 for me. But no, just with today, the lineup, the time management, the decisions, staying cool after 35 minutes, continuing to play our game, waiting for Everton to slip up, that's all because of our genius there. So a solid 10 from Mr. Arteta. And one other thing I love to see today in watching the game, they had a lot of aerial shots of the stadium and the new artwork that they started putting on the stadium. And I'm pretty sure a lot of that comes from Arteta's, wants and needs to rebuild their DNA.
Yeah.
But it looked beautiful, man. Like the stadium looks amazing. And like just what he says, right? About how we feed off the energy of the crowd. You just really see it, right? In action when you're watching the game. So we got to thank him for the huge turnaround of the squad, as well as Edu, I think. And just the players love him. You see it, I think, after the games when they're all together, sort of thanking the fans. We're singing his song as well. He's just been a godsend for this team. So yeah, a solid 10 for me, definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, we can't leave the Cronkies out of the thank yous when it comes to.
Yeah, for sure.
We cannot at this point leave them out of the thank yous. And this week there was an article in the news talking about with Thierry Henry, where Thierry Henry is like, no, it's going in the right direction now. Yes, we tried to make a bid, when things were low, but he's like, now we ain't rocking the boat. Okay, everyone's on board. You know what I mean? Everyone's on board.
Excellent.
Yeah,
that's great, man. It's nice to see. It's nice to see you two give Arteta 10s. When he first came in, I don't think anyone had, expectations that the third year would be anything like this. But I mean, it's a testament to the work that he does on and off the field.
Can I say this though? As United fans celebrate the Caracrap Cup, okay, the Crap-a-bow Cup, whatever you want to call it, okay, as they celebrate this, as they've shaken the hoodoo and won some silverware, okay. Let's not discount Mikel Arteta coming in, taking our lemons and making sweet lemonade to capture an FA Cup in his first season.
That's right.
Let's not take that out of the equation. All right, he's already got trophies. We don't have a trophy drought because of that. You understand what I'm saying? And,
That's right.
And now he's building on it. So you want to talk about your Eric Ten Hags or your whoever's? Yeah, okay. He's kind of on the Mikel Arteta track, except that he won Carabao Cup and not FA Cup, the one that actually counts in terms of domestic cups. So pull that trick off, and then maybe you can he's starting out on Arteta's level. He's got them going in the right direction in the league. I'll say that much. Okay, but
Ten Hag has more trophies than a certain club in North London, and he's only been around for 6 months. So
Right. Well,
I
same,
know.
same start for Arteta, except Arteta did it with the cup that counts. You know what
That's
I mean?
right.
And,
That's
and,
right.
and a cupboard that was a lot more bare than what was handed to Eric Ten Hag.
Exactly. Well, I mean, on that note, we'll end off the show. Bournemouth Saturday, 10 a.m. at the Emirates. Let's see if there's any change, if any. Shouldn't be that much. Hopefully, again, the same way that the jam was done at halftime, we can start making some adjustments and start putting players in different positions and seeing what they can actually do in games that actually matter and not just in training. So that's what we hope for. That's what hopefully we'll see, because that means that we're well dominating the game and the game's over. So that being said, guys, we'll catch you for our reaction podcast after the Bournemouth game around 12 o'clock, and we'll see you then. It's a great time to be a Gooner, that's for damn sure. So we'll catch you.
Who to be?
That's right. Proper football club, man.